Okay, I'm on.
We good? I'd like to call the January 21st, 2025, 6 p.m. meeting, Marquette County Commission, to order. Mr. Moore, would you be kind enough to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Moore, for leading the pledge. Roll call, please.
Commissioner DePietro,
He is absent. Please excuse Commissioner DePietro, recovering from a health issue.
Commissioner Adamini,
Here.
Commissioner Lalonde. Here. Commissioner Nordine,
Here.
Commissioner Elhone.
Here.
And Chairperson DeRocha.
Here. Approval of tonight's agenda. We would like to have a late edition update from Chet.
From who?
Janet, the contractor who's handling the administrator's employment search.
Chet.
Chet, yes. Chet.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Commissioner Elholm, support by Commissioner Lalonde. Any questions or comments on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approved tonight's agenda. Approval of the following minutes, organizational meeting held on January 7th, 2025.
Approved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Elholm, support by Vice Chair Nordine. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Closed session minutes held on January 7th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Lalonde. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Elholm. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Proclamations, presentations, and awards. Commissioner Elholm, would you be kind enough to read in Mr. Chuck Bergdahl's resolution?
Yes, thank you. In fact, I've had the pleasure, I've worked with Chuck for about 10 years on both the Planning Commission and Forestry Commission, and that was a treat to work with him. He's not here, unfortunately. So I will proceed. Marquette County Board of Commissioners recognition of Charles Bergdahl. Whereas Charles Chuck Bergdahl was appointed to the Marquette County Planning Commission in 1993 and has offered his time in this capacity for 32 years. During this time, he was instrumental in the handling of the KI Sawyer Base closure, landfill planning, and the overhaul of the Marquette County Master Plan, which was adopted in 2021. And whereas, in addition to the Planning Commission, Chuck has served the citizens of Marquette as a member of many boards and committees. He was elected to the Marquette County Board of Commissioners for District 10 in November of 1992, and went on to serve in this role for 20 years, including as board chair in 2011, retiring from the board on December 31st, 2012. Furthermore, Chuck has served in the Economic Development Council on it, the Lake Superior Community Partnership, Marquette County Land Bank, the Forestry Commission, and the Resources Conservation and Development Committee. And whereas Chuck's colleagues on the Planning Commission have described him as a dedicated and thoughtful public servant, they appreciate his subtle sense of humor and his quiet chuckle, and his ability to recall many stories from back in the day, and typically told with a humorous twist. Chuck is regarded as a good guy to have on your side. He will be missed by the many friends and colleagues he has served with. And therefore be it resolved that Marquette County Board of Commissioners recognizes Charles for his myriad contributions to the residents of Marquette County and wishes him the very best as he ends his time on the Planning Commission. His legacy as a public servant is certainly something to be recognized. Proclaim this 21st day of January, 2025, Joseph DeRoche, Marquette County Board Chairperson. I had to look at 2025 twice.
Thank you for reading that in. Well-deserved. You know, Chuck has been a community leader for decades, right, in Marquette County, and applaud Chuck for his efforts. Thank you, Commissioner Alholm.
He was on this board until retire, rehire, and the fallout from retire, rehire, because they redistrict. And when they did that, they put me and Chuck and Debbie Powell all in one district. And Chuck decided not to run, and I decided not to run because of that. That's why I got a little gap in my time, too. So that's why Chuck stopped being a county commissioner, because of that. But anyway, a little history.
Public comment. Moving on to public comment. Would it be beneficial if we move the microphone to down low here?
I'll stand there.
Sure.
Take your time, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Jerry Irby. I reside in the county of Marquette. A little background about myself. I was 6 years on the State Aging Services Commission. I chaired the County Aging Services for 4 or 5 years, and 1 year I was on the Community Action Board, and I stepped aside because I didn't particularly like what I was seeing, and I should have stayed. A lot of this stuff would not have happened. Starting in March of 2024, I and a bunch of other people started attending the CAM Community Action Alger Marquette board meeting and brought up different issues that we saw that needed to be corrected. And I come to you for the last time that I will get up and speak about this. We did, Kathy did hand out a handout that we had put together, and it starts off with nutrition, which is a very important part of community action. And earlier or later this last year, 24, they lost $100,000 because Meals on Wheels was moved aside to Alger County because they were dissatisfied with the services that they were getting from the executive director. That's $100,000. Currently, there is a high risk of losing complete funding of Meals on Wheels, which would amount to another $600,000. Now, that not only supports Meals on Wheels, but it supports CAM. And I'm very concerned, as many people are. Now, many people are very upset about what the executive director has done with that agency. They're even tentative to come here because they're afraid of retaliation from her. She has done it to other people, and they're concerned about their current status and their well-being. Some of these ladies had nervous breakdowns because of her. I know I only have 10 minutes, so I'm not going to sit up here. I did have Kathy ask her to hand out some information that I will touch base on more detail in the information I gave you. The executive director has canceled weekend Meals on Wheels, as you all know. This has affected the citizens of Marquette County. We have people from Pine Ridge going down to the warming centers on the weekend to get a warm meal. That's not right. That's not what community action is about. The current vulnerable are our seniors, our veterans, our homeless, who rely upon those meals for sustenance. And you take 2 days a week away, it's pretty big. So that information I gave you, please, at your convenience, look at it. She has also cut and held back money from the room at the end, and our different veterans groups, our different seniors groups for housing. The housing director, this gets me, actually lives in Sault Ste. Marie. That's a job in this county that could be filled by many, many people. She wants someone away from this county. The finance director lives in Utah. Figure that one out. Ask the questions if you will. That's ridiculous, because she wants to isolate these people where she can control them and they listen to her. It's ridiculous. Again, housing, she's delayed spending to a room at the end for over a year. Finally, they got some money out of it. These are grants. There's money that is coming from MISTA into the community action. There's actually a gentleman, and I talked to him numerous times, he's investigating her on misappropriation of funds. We don't know where it's going, but the investigation continues. It goes on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen, and I just, at this point, Meals on Wheels, I think, has got 3 months to survive in this county. And if not, UpCap probably could move them away to another agency, which would do a much better job than what she's doing.
1 more minute.
1 minute?
One more minute.
So, just look over the information, if you will. And she's actually, there's 100% turnover of personnel in her organization, that she's either fired, harassed, she's gone to their homes, or gone to businesses where they're at, and it's not right. Nobody should have that much control over people. So I know you can't fire her, but you sure could talk to the people who could fire her. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Irby.
Thank you. Phil.
Her daughter works here.
Is that? Oh.
Okay, that's right. Is he okay? Make sure he's okay. Public comment.
Good evening.
Look who's in the house, our
Honorable, yes.
Honorable Linda Ant, Marquette Township Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you. I'm reporting tonight on the Materials Management Committee that I was appointed to. We had a meeting just last week on the 21st, no, today's the 21st, on the 16th, pardon me, in Escanaba at 3 o'clock. The officers were chosen. We have Kelly Van Genhoven for chair and Chris Amel as vice chair. We were given the rules of procedure by the QPAD. Ryan Carrick and his staff are putting that together. We went through that. I did make some recommendations that chair committee appointments not be unilateral, which is what they were stated in the rules. I asked for board concurrence, and they agreed to that. I also asked that any travel members, such as we are, Jim Nankervis especially too, that they notify Ryan if they're not coming, because trying to get a quorum for 23 people is kind of a challenge. There are 3 vacant seats for the whole consortium of the 6 counties. So we've got 20 people, and I think we had 11 at the last meeting, so we just made it. We have to have half, more than half. So anyway, they agreed to that if someone can't show up, that they let Ryan know, so we don't all make the trip or not. It also gave the chair responsibility for allowing an unlimited number of minutes for public comment. And I suggested that that not be a good idea. So they did agree to 5 minutes, but another one of the members said that it would be at the discretion of the chair to decide if that 5 minutes was waived. So, they also said that the committee would receive copies of all the documents from public comments, and I suggested that they be read into the record so that for people coming from multiple counties could at least be aware of who's saying what, and there'd be a record in the record for it. We got a packet, pretty good sized packet, but Eagle is kind of doing and redoing. I think there were 3 iterations of the rules and regulations that we need to follow in the procedures. So Ryan's hoping that this last proposal, I guess, or direction, whichever it is that comes from the state, is going to be the last time we'll see that. They should also be sending another Eagle staff member to the next meeting for us to talk to. It's a work plan that they have to put into place. We have to put into place. We also decided that the committee would meet the 3rd Thursday of the month at 3 o'clock in Escanaba. Meetings are open to the public, so anybody in the 6 counties can come, or whoever's going by. This particular meeting only lasted about 40 minutes because that Eagle information was not there for us to work on. So the next meeting will be February 20th, and we're finally going to get into the meat of what each county needs and what each county has. Kind of do an asset list of what our purpose is and what we're going to work on. So that's all I have for right now. Thanks.
Thank you for your public comment, Lynn.
Sure. Where do they meet? Where's the meetings at?
They were going to make them in different spots.
Oh,
and
okay.
right now they decided for this schedule it'll be at the Delta County, I can't think what it's called.
Okay, I know what you mean.
The main building.
Yep.
Where QPAD's offices.
Okay, got it, thank you.
And the police department's there too.
Public comment. Public comment. Any further public comment? Any electronic comment? One more time, public comment. We're going to close the first public comment period. Review of claims and accounts, total expenditures paid via check ETF transferred for the period of January 3rd, 2025 through January 26, 2025 were $1,815,669.48. This check does not include the check payable to Elger Delta Co-op.
Make the motion.
And, okay, motion by Commissioner Lalonde.
Pay the bills.
Is there support?
Yes.
I support, but I would have a friendly amendment that you have both of those. Or
I was,
two of them.
yeah,
So-
she was, she was jumping in.
That's okay, but are you good with the friendly amendment? We'll do both of those?
So,
Go ahead.
so let me let me finish reading. And the bi-weekly payroll for the period ending January 24th, 2025 was $943,960.57. Now,
Motion.
And I-
motion to
and I
approve.
support. And it
Support
wasn't- it
by
wasn't your
Vice
fault.
Chair Nordine.
He was too slow.
I know.
I'm a slow reader, I'm sorry. Questions or comments on the bills? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, pay the bills. Check number 230053 dated 1/17/2025 for $421.92 payable to Alger Delta. We have a sitting abstention. Commissioner Alholm sits on the board, standing abstention. Is there a motion?
Motion to pay.
Motion by Commissioner Lalonde. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Vice Chair Nordine. Questions or comments on the bill? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention.
Abstention.
Public hearings, there's no public hearings. Privilege comment, Mr. Bruce Moore, would you be kind enough to take the podium? Ah, he's here
Oh,
already.
there you go. And he handed these out, by the way.
So he's from Highline Fiber Optics Update. In fact, I better disclose, I received a letter, I believe, in the mail today. I didn't open it, so I don't know what it's in regards to, Bruce, but I don't know if it's easement language or what it is, but
Maybe they're offering you like internet service. Who
I
knows?
don't know. But so, just wanted to disclose that. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we genuinely appreciate the time tonight. Before I get started, we have a brief presentation to introduce Highline and introduce you to our project here in Marquette County. We'd like to introduce my colleagues. The gentleman on the far left is Mark Davis, the Senior Vice President of Engineering for Highline's entire company. Aaron Birdie, local Marquette resident and a member of our team for almost 4 years. Aaron's our Vice President of Operations. He makes sure all the installations happen on time and a big part of our customer satisfaction. Bethany Leiter is our Director of Community Relations. Bethany promotes our product, service, and a lot of great things going on, like Teacher of the Month, First Responder of the Month. You'll see in our presentation, we are very active and great corporate citizens in the markets that we operate. And then the gentleman back there, Mark Hanty, another local Marquette gentleman who helps our permitting. And so I'll get started with our presentation, and I'm the President and General Manager of the state of Michigan for Highline. So the business plan and the operation is my responsibility. So our goal tonight, 3 things. We'd like to introduce you and let you know who Highline is and how we can help and how we are helping not only the Upper Peninsula, but specifically Marquette County with our fiber internet product. We also want you to feel and get a sense of Highline as a competent, trustworthy, and a company that operates the values that are consistent with being a great business within your community, but also a world-class internet service provider. And as you might imagine, in today's day and age, the reliance and the trust that our customers have in us with their internet connection is a big responsibility that we take very seriously. And in the slide, at the end of the day, we do have an ask. I learned that early in my career. If you're going to come to an esteemed organization and board like this, you got to have an ask, and we do have an ask, and we do believe that the project that we are undertaking in the Upper Peninsula, and specifically in Marquette County, is a generational, once-in-a-generation opportunity with the broadband funding that's available to truly fix the internet on the rural parts of your communities. So we did our research, and we found the Marquette County 2040 Master Plan that I'm sure you're all familiar with. I'm not going to read it to you, but the first line does say in the next 20 years, this type of broadband, the gigabit internet access will really be the standard. And what we would argue that it's not 20 years, it's today. That is the standard in 2025. And that's the type of service that we're delivering. We agree, and our research says that we agree that almost all of Marquette County is void of this type of internet connectivity, particularly delivered with fiber. We also agree that this type of internet access to broadband improves cell service, but it is a vehicle for economic development, emergency services, and the attraction and retention of residents. So we would like to introduce our company and our service and really forget about 2040. Let's fast forward this to 2025, 15 years ahead of the plan that you all put together. So how does this all come about, the funding? As you know, in the United States today, between the Federal Communications Commission and also the infrastructure bill that was passed through the IIJA, there's a lot of broadband money, and Highline has attracted a significant amount of that money to Michigan. Particularly the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund grant that we were awarded in 2020 and we started executing on in 2021. It's $188 million. 160 million of that is dedicated to the Upper Peninsula. Within that grant of the 162 million, about $25 million of that is dedicated to Marquette County that is going to cover the 5,226 homes. Right now, there's an application window open through the state of Michigan and the NTIA. It's the next round of funding. The state of Michigan was allocated the fourth highest amount in the nation, $1.6 billion. We believe that we have the opportunity to potentially attract up to $100 million of that for Michigan. And based on our estimates, there's 1,748 homes available under that program in Marquette County, and we're kind of guessing that would be around $14 million. That application is due April 9th, and we're working very hard to put that together. So nearly 7,000 what have been identified through lots of different research as unserved homes, meaning they don't have access to a 100 megabit connection. We believe are in Marquette County. We're obligated to build past the 5,226. We are going to do that. And then again, almost 1,800 additional homes as a part of our project. So we believe that we can make a significant impact in helping solve the internet problem that the community identified. This is just a visual of our entire project in the Upper Peninsula. I would tell you that we started in 2021 in Delta County. We started going east and west almost at the same time. We are all the way over to the east to the Newberry area today. We've built a significant amount of our network west to Iron Mountain, and we've also completed the Waters Meat build as well. In 2025, as a part of our 6-year plan, right? We have 6 years to do this grant, to finish this grant. 2025 is year 4 for us, and Marquette County is in our plan to finish it. Marquette County is in our plan.
What's the difference in the green and the purple?
So I was gonna, yeah, so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The purple are locations that are identified. Those are the first grant that we won, the RDOF grant. And the green locations are the grant, the BEAD grant that we're applying for right now. So you can see, as a part of the work that was done in vetting what is an unserved household, there's obviously a significant amount, nearly 9,000 in Marquette County. And so the way our plan is going is we plan on finishing Marquette County this summer in a very short amount of time, and then apply for and win, hopefully, the BEAD grant. And then we would just, as the single provider, just continue building as, and so it would be, we have until 2030 to finish the BEAD program, but our plan is to, again, continue to build where we have density and momentum, if that makes sense. So we really have an opportunity to make a significant impact in Marquette County, and that's our plan. This is an important map that we use often with many different audiences. We call it our fiber roadmap. And you can see it goes from, in the upper left-hand corner, securing the funding. Mark and his team do the design, and then we illustrate through the stop signs where everything goes pretty fast, and then we get into the permitting process. And we have, in permitting in our business, not just in Michigan, but also nationwide, is there's never been the volume of fiber building that is occurring because of the volume, hundreds of millions of dollars of your tax dollar and my tax dollar to improve the internet access. And so we have permitting, and we're going to go through it at the end as well, local county road commission permitting to permit the right-of-way. The state of Michigan, MDOT, the railroads we have to receive permits from to cross. We have national forestry issues to permit. We have the DNR to permit. We have permitting that we have to do with the electrical utilities because we don't bury all of our network underground. We put it on utility poles. There's environmental, there's Eagle, there's tribal. And so for us, the lessons that we've learned since 2021 when we started our project in the Upper Peninsula is we have to get a big time head start on the permitting process to prepare us for a very short construction season. As you know, we can't get started in the Upper Peninsula until early June. And then once that June shot clock starts for us, in the best case scenario, we have 139 days of actual construction. Most of the time it shrinks down into the 120 number. If we can get from June 1st to Thanksgiving, business days, that's the time frame that we have. So the permitting process is the big hurdle for us. And every permitting entity that we work with has never seen the volume of permits that we apply for. Because this money has never been available to the rural parts of anywhere in the Upper Peninsula. And so where a county road commission might have gotten 6 permits all year, we snow them under with hundreds of permits, depending on the total mileage. And that is a process that we know we have to start early, and we'll talk about a big ask at the end. But once we get through the permitting process, then we have a not so easy task of building fiber underground or aerial in the Upper Peninsula. As we like to say, they don't call it Iron County for nothing, right? You know the ground conditions here. It's slate rock, it's tough going, but we're figuring out a way to do it. Once we get through all the connectivity, at the end of the day, we end up with a customer who, and people often ask me, well, what do you do? And what I say is I end the fight over the internet connection in your home. I do. We end the fight. No more, hey, somebody get off the internet, because I need to use it for my work call or whatever. So this is an important map is to use as a reference as you work with your constituents in the community to help explain the process of what we're doing. So we also want to say that we're a proven entity. We've done it. We've built over 2,800 miles to date. We have 23,000 homes we passed. We have over 7,000 customers already in the state of Michigan, which you might expect because of the high demand to improve internet access. We're also a telephone service provider, and a big part of what Bethany does is we've given back over $250,000 to the communities that we operate in and support. It's very important to us to give back as well. I'll slide through this one. It ties to what you identified in your community. Certainly, access to reliable bandwidth creates population retention. It also creates population growth. Studies would say a home connected with fiber is worth anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 more without, because that's the first question people ask now when they want to buy a home, what kind of internet access is available. And then all the things that come along with a reliable, fast, high bandwidth connection in terms of home entertainment, access to telehealth, which we agree with that. You know as well as I do in the rural communities, particularly the Upper Peninsula, sometimes it's a 200-mile circle that emergency services have to cover with a single response vehicle. Telehealth is becoming a much more important tool for hospitals to, with the relationship with the community. And then, as we learned during the pandemic, education from home and work from home is a very important part of what the household wants to do, but cannot do it without a fast, reliable internet connection. So I'll go back to this, the challenges of rural areas, permitting, 600 miles of permitting, maybe up to 700 miles of total permitting throughout Marquette County is a big deal. It's a lot of fiber to put in the ground. It's a lot of permitting, and every single one of these entities requires a Highline to apply for a permit. And again, we are on an accelerated timeline because of our short construction window. We are working now with all of these entities for Marquette County. We have got to get all the permitting done. Mark and his team design it, get all the contractors lined up, and then the gun goes off and we start constructing fiber. So if you were somebody to ask me what's the number one thing that makes you lay awake at night today, it's permitting. And I'll cruise through this. This is the end. So what is our ask? Our ask is to work together with this board, your constituents, your influence, to help us be successful and complete our Marquette County project in 2025. We're also asking for a support letter for our upcoming BEAD application. It would be great if we could get one letter from your board or a letter from each individual commissioner. That would be an additional ask. Community support is 8 points of the application, so it's a big deal. And then the third one is every single county, and we work in every single county in the Upper Peninsula except for Alger. We don't have Alger. But Delta, Dickinson, Menominee, Gogebic, Chippewa, Mackinac, Schoolcraft, Luce. There isn't one county that we work in that we don't go to the County Road Commission and ask for a variance or a change in their policy based on conditions of the road, seasonal roads, etc. And so we anticipate, and we've had some conversations, we know that we're going to ask for a change in policy, and we know that the road conditions staff works within the policy guidelines that they're given today. And so we're putting together all of our information, and it's not a variance for every single mile, but specific variances. And so we will be asking for change in policy, and we'll ask you for your support. And then we would finish with, we want to get Marquette County done in 2025. Check the box of the 5,226 homes that we're obligated to serve. We believe that our business plan is we'll get 60% of those homes will sign up with Highline eventually, because the current internet service that they have is unacceptable. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We appreciate your support. You'll see us active in the community, and we look forward to helping people out.
So does anybody have any questions for Mr. Moore? Board?
I just want to know when I can sign up, that's all.
Tonight, Bill. We've got to sign up once.
So I have a couple of questions. So what is this BEAD grant you're referring to, and what does it entail?
So
just briefly.
Yeah, so the federal government loves acronyms, but what it is the state of Michigan has received $1.6 billion. The state has identified an additional 240,000 homes throughout the state of Michigan that are unserved outside of our grant and any other federal grant that's been awarded so far. So Eric Frederick, who is the Chief Connectivity Officer for the state of Michigan that runs the MyHigh office, his language is the BEAD program is batting cleanup for every other broadband program that's ever existed. And in theory, this program will ensure that there are no unserved homes left in the state of Michigan. So everybody will have access to at least a 100 megabit connection. We offer for our customers 1,000 up and 1,000 down. We offer the fastest service available right out of the gate. And we think there's around 10,000 homes that will be eligible on the Upper Peninsula. So it's another funding program that we want to take advantage of and continue to draw this broadband money into the Upper Peninsula. Sometimes I heard a gentleman tell me one time that nothing ever happens first in the UP.
So,
and I say, well, except for fiber internet access, because of what Highline's trying to do.
So, Bruce, as we move forward, if you're going to look for some type of support letter from the board, you should probably get some documentation for the board's review above and beyond. This just got dropped today. You're here for as a
Sure.
informational item, right? Privilege comment. You know, what that entails and, you know, 'cause you may have competitors and we need to know what that entails.
We would encourage anybody that's interested, anybody that approaches the board that's interested in applying for BEAD, we encourage you to support everybody. We feel like our application is going to depend on our engineering design and our efficient use of money. But we actually go one step further. We pre-write the letter for you, and so you just have to put your name on it. So.
That's what I thought that was going. That's why I'd like to see it in advance, yeah.
Right.
But, yes, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Well, Marquette County certainly welcomes you here and wish you great prosperity in Marquette County and wish you well in your efforts and let us know again how we can assist with
Thank
that.
you very much. Yeah, tomorrow evening we're meeting with the Marquette County Township Association, and so we deliver our message tomorrow night as well to all the townships that attend that meeting. So.
Okay, it would help if you showed us more in detail what areas of Marquette County you're going to serve in the original grant, which ones are under the B grant,
Okay.
and which ones may not get served at all. I'm not sure you're going to do all of Marquette County, are you?
Well,
I mean, there's some pretty rural areas, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna, you know, our first, the grant that we're working on right now is, you know, just over 5,200 homes that we're obligated, you know, because the way the grant works is we have 6 years to build it. The $188 million sounds like a lot of money, but it's actually spread out over 10 years. So our investment group has really funded approximately $70 million gap in order for us to get where we are today, and we're very blessed to have an investment group that believes in what we're doing and has the wherewithal to help us, you know, while we get a lot of the revenue or the grant funding at kind of the tail end of it. So we'll absolutely do that.
Because Joe and I are in the rural area, so we got to see if you're getting our areas, right? I don't know if they're getting your
Maybe
areas.
give me your address, I'll let you know.
Well, I'm in Gwen, and you ran it right in front of my house, so I think I'm there, yeah, but I'm not sure Republic and Humboldt and all that's there, though. Did you guys go to Republic and Humboldt?
We will.
You haven't yet, though, right?
I have a quick question. So you're installing lines and then also you're the provider,
Yeah.
and this is the list. Do you have something for a low-income LS population that's affordable?
We don't today. So the question is low income, we don't. The federal government had a program called the Affordable Connectivity Plan, which allowed for applicants who qualified $30 off. That program was oversubscribed nationwide, and it was an appropriations fund, so it ran out of money. And so what we're hoping for is that the new administration recognizes that that was a valuable program and adds that into the budget as an appropriation, but as an annual, you know, budgeted for item, because it is important. We understand that. And what I would say, just as a note, is rather than just take the $30 discount, because we had customers who had qualified for that program, rather than take that discount away, we just extended it for them.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. Any further questions from the board?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore, for your presentation. Look forward to continued dialogue. Informational items, 9A. Marquette County Planning Commission Annual Report. Is there anybody here from the Planning Commission?
No, I don't have any comments.
No comment. No Planning Commission. $2.3 million in budgetary expenditures there, and there's nobody here. So,
Karen's here.
Karen's here, yeah.
Nothing to do with
So
the
Karen, I gotta
planning
tell you,
commission. Actually, it's just, it's really a great program, primarily because our staff's great, and they bring all these wonderful ideas to the planning commission to maybe pass on to you. But,
Right.
no, we've got a lot of projects, and they're working on environmental issues and
So,
children issues.
I read through here and maybe our 2025 goals should include things of low importance like the jail and the airport, but I'm not seeing a lot of that on there. I think they should probably include that on there for future meetings. And one other thing that struck me as a little odd was they have an attendance rating. What?
I know
So
they do that. They
I'm
check-
curious how that would go over if we were to put attendance on staff.
We had a discussion on that actually at the last planning commission.
Um,
One of the
seems-
planning commission members said, can't we
Seems
make better use of that spot? to
Seems a
put
little,
attendance?
seems a little odd to me, but, and then we have the next one would be Martran's,
That's the
city
yeah, that's
representative
the ci- that's the
appointment
city's appointment.
for information, so that as well. So looking for a motion to accept informational items 9A and 9B.
So moved.
Motion by the vice chair. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamini. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Linda, put them on file. Action items. Personnel policy. Molly, you have the floor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back at the November 19th meeting, I was given direction to start working on the evaluation and reclassification policy that we have included in our personnel policy and as well as a handful of our union contracts. The first step of that was to work on the section of the personnel policy, which is included in your packet tonight. This is section 103.1. The only changes that are in this is that we shortened the response time for the evaluations from 6 months down to 30 days. And then we also eliminated back pay for any changes to classification, if there are any. Any other changes in there is just kind of reorganizing some of the words and putting it into a more understandable format for everyone.
So Molly, have you had this reviewed by civil council?
Yes,
And they were fine with that?
fine with it, I guess.
So in front of you, board, is a new personnel. I know Molly's worked diligently on this to get this in place. What's your flavor?
Move to approve the updated version of section 103.1 of the personnel policy.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Elholm. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamini. Any further discussion, questions, or comments?
I just think it's a really good idea to cut that time frame. 6 months seems like
It was too long.
ridiculous
It was way
amount of
too long,
time.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like the changes.
Motion on the floor and support. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Remonumentation peer group, per diem mileage.
Neil's here.
Neil's here. Neil, would you like to speak to this?
I'll take just a couple minutes of your time. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Board. Basically, what we're trying to do here is just streamline some processes in the remonumentation program. This is really small potatoes. But currently, we have to end up cutting 2 checks when we have the peer review group meet. They meet twice a year. We cut 1 check for per diem. We cut another check for mileage. The mileage on average runs about a little over $40 to the members, all the members of the group. The current per diem is $40 per member. I'm excluded. I don't get paid for that. What we'd like to do is, the other thing that happens is that just the time it takes to sort through all this is more than outweighs the mileage costs. The per diem has been at $40 for as long as I can remember. What I'm proposing is that we eliminate the mileage and just pay $50 per attendee at the peer review group meetings. Again, the mileage is about $40. The added cost is $60, so there's a $20 additional outlay, but per meeting. But it's the time and effort saved with sorting through all of those mileage requirements would be more than offset that difference.
I'd move that we follow Neil Lynch's recommendation and increase the per diem from $40 to $50 per meeting with no mileage.
Support.
You have a question?
So we have a motion on the floor by the vice chair and support by Commissioner Adamini. So questions now that it's on the floor, and comments. So I have a couple of concerns here. So one, I don't think we can stop somebody from asking for mileage, first off. I think there's a legal question there. Secondarily, I don't see a fiscal impact. Staff, Neil, I know it seems like a simple thing, but if we move your numbers to 50, we have countless boards that this is going to affect, and the fiscal impact to that may be significant. So I think from my perspective, I'd like to see what that looks like. How many boards do we have if we moved it to $50 across the board and continued the mileage? And I'm not sure why you have to get 2 checks. That's a whole separate question. And maybe we can ask that question. And, sure, Scott.
So they're done by 2 different people. The mileage is done by one person in our department in finance, and the payment for the per diem is another. So.
Payroll versus accounts payable.
Okay.
Expense reimbursement.
One's a reimbursement.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm concerned. I don't know.
So I guess where I'm going with that is if we're from a broad perspective, if we were going to do committee, we have a lot of committees.
Right, but we're not changing the whole thing.
No. My point is, on a level of fairness, if we are going to adjust committees, and I get Neil, I'm hearing you, the $40 piece, that's been forever. I certainly think that should change. These are volunteer, it should, certainly, it's nice to be at least compensated to, you get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken is $40.
It's $40 as long as I can remember.
We have a similar thing. We have the commission here hasn't been increased since 1973, I think, is the wages. It's
we're overpaid. But
$8,000 a year, yeah. So anyhow, I think and again, I'm not going to split the hairs here, but I think we should look at what it takes to do across. Let's figure out what that fiscal number is. Scott can just my thought on this, that how many people does this impact if we move that
the whole thing.
number?
But I mean, right now, I don't mind doing just theirs right now, but I'm with you that we should look at the whole thing. I mean, it's been $40. It's been $40 as long as I can remember. I mean, for 40 years, it's been $40. And they're volunteers.
Understood.
And I agree that we should move them all to 50. However, it's been $40 and mileage. And if you turn it to just $50, they might lose money, depending on where they're coming from. Right. So I don't know about that. I like Neil's suggestion.
You're out on my end, right? You're
on your end,
right?
On my end, right? Yeah. We're rural. People come from our area. It costs more. But I don't have a problem with Neil's tonight. But I agree that as a secondary thing, we should look at increasing the whole.
Well, we do it. Well, not that I was going to say do it for a year until we get a status, and then.
Well, we should have. You have a legal question there, though. You should ask that to look at whether or not we're required to pay mileage. I don't think we are.
I did ask both Civil Council and the Office of Land Surveying and Remonumentation if we were required to pay mileage, and neither had an objection. So I don't know.
But an objection or legal?
Neither have an objection. Is different in opinion.
There's a legal requirement to pay mileage. That I can't answer. But we did make those inquiries, and nobody had it.
So one of the things that we recently had, and now we're diving into something else, which I don't want to do.
We're getting the weeds over a little.
But over such a little thing. So if we don't pay mileage, which is, Vice Chair, as you know, called that's your fuel and wear and tear, and the individuals for this peer group, they're covered under our umbrella blanket, and they're at a meeting and something happens, they're covered now. You see where I'm going with that, right? From a wear and tear.
I don't know.
If the vehicle gets damaged,
I know we're not responsible for that anyway. Even if they had mileage, they're responsible for their own vehicle,
For their
we're not
own,
responsible
yeah.
for it, they get their mileage stipend, that's all. I don't know if it matters, but
Yeah, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna stay on this. So we have a motion and support on the floor.
Well, do we need to check and see if it's legal first?
I will note, Mr. Newman did look into this and then responded that he had no objection, and he looked at the legality of putting them together.
Okay.
That was the fundamental question. I will definitely make a request to him to follow up if anything changes, but.
Is your motion subject to
it
legal
could be subject
review?
to, yeah, subject, I'll modify that, did you support me? Oh, Steve did. Subject to legal review.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, well, so,
We're not gonna meet, this group isn't gonna meet until the fall. so
Yeah.
How often do you meet? That was the
no
next
rush.
question.
Say again?
How often do you meet?
Twice a year. So, yeah.
Yeah,
This is small potatoes,
yeah, I get it.
And I'm just trying to make it easy for the gals upstairs and just kind of one thing, that mileage number gets screwed up. We can't pay federal mileage, we have to pay state mileage.
Yeah.
So instead of
Yeah.
56 cents, it's 44 cents. It's just
Okay.
a can of worms.
all right, so we have a motion and support on the floor. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you,
Thank you
Neil.
for the program, this remonumentation program is a great program.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time.
All right. That was a struggle. Land lease, CADX development. Dwayne, you have the floor.
Yes,
Let's move through this.
yes, good evening, Commissioners. What I have before you is a request for the board to consider entering into an agreement with Mead and Hunt, and this is an agreement that would pertain to the land release in relation to parcels 1 and parcels 2 that we're working with Superior Extrusion. There was some earlier discussions with Superior Extrusion that there would be a 50-50 split on this. The total agreement, which will cover project management, the CADX development, and then an overall review of the document, came to a total of $16,500. The board originally at not the previous meeting, but one prior, agreed to a maximum of a $20,000 limit with a split of $10,000 50-50. This does fall under that, so it would be $8,250 per entity.
Yep. So we have a staff recommendation, Marquette County Board of Commissioners approve entering into the agreement with Mead and Hunt in the amount of $16,500 upon final contract review. Marquette County is responsible for $8,250 of this expense. Is there a
Move to approve.
motion on the floor by Commissioner Elholm? Is there support? Support by Commissioner Malone. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Dwayne. Motion approved, Linda. Air traffic control tower. We got Dwayne back up here again.
Yes, again, I'm just asking for board consideration. This is in regards to an agreement for Phase 2 of the air traffic control tower rehabilitation. In a previous meeting, we did agree to pre-fund initial study on it. We applied for grants through 2 grant avenues. One was with Airport Terminal Program grant. We were unsuccessful in that one, but we were successful in the bilateral infrastructure legislation bill with the grant for the contract tower federal contract control tower grant program. We are awarded $1.5 million. It's a little short of what we were originally asking for. We asked for $6.3. We will be resubmitting another grant application with the 2 entities on the next round. This grant is 100% federally funded, but what we're looking for is board approval to pre-fund an engineering component of this. We need to get the engineering done to get the building specs out and get the actual cost so that we can submit the real dollars or the real expense with the grant that is due later this spring. So the grant is, or the engineering is $280,309. Again, this would be reimbursed under the grant as soon as it's awarded.
Vice Chair has a question.
So, it would be reimbursed under the grant when it's awarded. I mean, are we, it sounded to me like you applied for 6.3 million and we got 1.5 million.
Yes.
So this 280,000 in engineering is gonna come out of the first part that we're absolutely gonna get?
We have already been notified that we were awarded the 1.5 million for the grant. The FAA is still working through the final documentation. We are working with them hand in hand to get all the particular components taken care of, like the environmental engineering and such. So for us to be able to compile the final application that will be submitted to the FAA, we need to have final actual dollar cost for the projects that we're going to be implementing, like radios, roof repairs, some interior work inside the air traffic control tower, equipment for, again, for the radios, and a fire escape, and a couple other little odds and ends. Granted, it isn't the full project. We, again, asked for 6.3. We were awarded 1.5. We're just waiting on the final FAA grant award, and they'll submit that, or they'll award that to us once we submit our final application. It sounds like we haven't gotten it yet with the final application, but we were awarded.
The 1.5 we're gonna get.
1.5.
Yeah, but you know, 280,000 in engineering on a project that's 1.5 million, it seems like a lot of engineering. The percentage seems way too high.
There is. We equally went out for an independent fee estimate, and the documents come in on that. It does fall within the criteria of the engineering document. I don't recall right offhand because I just got that award just the other day.
So I guess my question is, I have lots of them here, but the latest one is that the 280,000 in engineering, is that only for the 1.5 million, or is that the engineering for the whole 6.3 and you're hoping to get the rest of the grant?
That is just the building component that we're looking at right now, yes.
Man, that seems high for just that 1.5 million.
We've talked about this.
Oh, my Lord, right? I don't know why Linda's...
$5 million a year in engineering fees.
Man, we pay a lot of engineering out there. Not that I don't like engineers.
We've not been, and we've not been turned down much. Okay.
Anyway, I guess it's not our money. It's a 100% grant with no local match, so it doesn't matter. But it seems just odd that it's so high.
Any further questions or comments?
No, I agree with Bill. But, so I just have to explain this to me like I am in 8th grade. So that amount for the design agreement, that's just a design agreement?
No, this design, what the Mead and Hunt will do is they'll develop the components of the project, which include HVAC, ventilation, air conditioning, radio equipment, fire escape, interior cab finishes, and the roof. And then we're going to have some alternates. If the dollars come in right, they'll develop the specifications for bid. Then they'll actually do the bidding. So they'll go out for bids, and they'll provide all that information. We'll get the bids. They'll make the recommendation for us to proceed with whichever contractor comes in with the best price. Then we'll take those dollars, actual construction dollars, and we'll put that into our final application to the FAA, indicating this is how much we're doing, this is the dollar amount, and then they will ultimately issue us a grant for what we need. Granted, we're hoping that we'll be able to get it to 1,500,000, but again, there's a risk.
They will issue?
They will
us a
issue,
grant?
yes.
Like that's solid?
This is solid.
And that we are actually getting the 1.5 million?
1.5 million.
When is it supposed to arrive?
We're anticipating this spring. I don't have the exact date because this is a new program that the FAA is working with. We had conversations with them just recently, and they could not give us a specific date when they would ultimately issue the grant, but they told us we need to move to get all these final numbers so that once they have that particular date set in stone, we'll be able to issue everything.
And where would these funds come out of?
This one will...
But we don't have the grant money.
Oh, you're saying the fund's up front, so we're gonna get reimbursed for sure, but we have to pay up front.
Yes, and this would ultimately initially come out of...
Adequate funding to cover
Okay,
this.
just making sure.
Good point, though.
That's a good question.
So does this come out of
Airport reserves.
reserves or out of?
That's what, you don't have this budgeted in your fund, you'll have to make a budget adjustment.
Is that the airport stabilization fund?
That's gone.
Okay. Any further questions or comments?
That was there for a long time.
Well, this was way overdue, and so I am moving to follow staff recommendation.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Alholm. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamini. Any further questions or comments?
One last one. So the fire escape in the tower, they'll have that fixed now?
Uh,
Or is that a?
What they will, one of the components that we're missing on that is a singular engineered arm that will extend out over the canopy or over the catwalk area where the folks up there would be able to rappel off. Actually, we have all of the other equipment in hand. We just have not been able to put our hands on the engineered arm to put it, to actually extend out over and lower the people as they exit the.
So, we're talking about fires now, right?
Two
We're talking
separate,
about fires,
yeah.
and we gotta, right now, these people have to come down them steps, or a firefighter's gotta carry them down, which I don't wanna do. But now you're saying you have something swing out, and they're gonna have to rappel down, they're gonna have like ropes in there and be trained in rappelling?
Well, it kind of, yes, it's a braked device that when you put a load on it, it'll automatically, under tension, lowering it, it'll automatically brake and it'll lower a occupant to the ground slowly. We have all of that stuff. We've gotten all the new stuff. We've had it all recertified. The only component that we're really missing in this is that engineered arm, and we thought we had identified it, but we were unable to get it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Alholm and support by Commissioner Adamini. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dwayne. Moving right along to the next one. Your turn, Dwayne.
One final ask, this is again a consideration for the board to approve an agreement with Mead and Hunt. We are moving forward with replacing both of our jet bridges at the airport commercial terminal. These bridges have aged out, they're beyond service life, where over the last year, we have struggled with trying to maintain their operation. Knock on wood, to date, we've been able to keep them running. We moved this project forward. What we are doing in this first one, this is an AIP Airport Improvement Program grant. We are looking to pre-fund the engineering component. This will engineer two jet bridges. It'll engineer the construction documents, the bidding documents, and ultimately get us final construction dollars to be added to the final application for submission, which will come in the fall. We anticipate the grant will ultimately be awarded late September, early October. The engineering for this project is $269,073. This engineering is relating to a $2.5 million construction project, which is going to encompass the construction or the design and bidding of the jet bridges, the construction of one jet bridge, and then some airport layout plan work that we're working with to better manage the properties that we have out there for aeronautical, non-aeronautical, more or less just to clean up some of the properties so that as we move forward to develop Marquette Sawyer Regional into more of a business entity, we'll have all the information at hand and be able to move quickly when businesses look to relocate to the airport. Short term or short story of this, it is Airport Improvement Grant. It's a 95 and 5 match, 90% federal, 5 local, 5 state. This would be eligible under PFC application. We don't currently have this under a PFC application, but we would be moving to put that in the next application. So all of our local share will be reimbursed through, ultimately through PFC. But once the grant is awarded, we would be able to seek seek the 90% of this expense or 95% of this expense once a grant is awarded. Again, it's to pre-fund.
So staff recommends that the Marquette County Board of Commissioners approve the Mead and Hunt Passenger Boarding Bridge Replacement Design Agreement in the amount of $269,073 and authorize the chair to sign the agreement after the agreement is completed. Any questions or comments?
I'd move approval.
Motion by Vice Chair Nordine. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Adamini.
Although I think that I should have stayed as an engineer rather than an attorney. But so we're paying Mead and Hunt another $269,000 for engineering this.
Yes.
Right, and it's for a passenger boarding bridge. But we have a passenger boarding bridge, is this, right? This is.
We have two.
We have two, right?
We have two passenger boarding bridges.
So these are replacing the ones we have, or this is an additional
No,
one?
these will replace the ones we have. The current bridges that we have are new bridges. They have been out of production for better part of a decade, and we've been struggling to keep them running. They are exceeding 20 years of life. That is the expected life for those bridges. The FAA says at that time you're eligible to replace them. I think this is a very prudent and timely repair.
Well, it's only 13,000 of our dollars, so.
So we have a motion and support on the floor. Any further questions or comments?
Yes.
Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So, we have,
Well, we got Chet, has he been online this whole
Chet
time?
has been online.
Oh, good for him, Chet.
Chet, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
I can. You have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you. I have a bit of a sore throat, so I apologize if I'm a little rough, but since the meeting 2 weeks ago, the job has been posted on various websites. I have given you 2 updates. The last one was last Friday, and you'll get an update from me probably most Fridays until the deadline date, which is February 12th. After that date, all the resumes will be scanned in, and you'll get those in email. And at your February 18th meeting, well, I'll back up a little bit. I'll ask you to rate the candidates before the February 18th meeting on an A, B, and C scale. A means that you definitely want to interview them, B is potential, and C means, well, thank you for applying. We'll see how your rating comes out. I'll be at your February 12th or your February 18th board meeting. By law, we do have the right to go into closed session to review the candidates. And after that, you can come out of closed session and make a determination on which candidates you wish to interview and when you want to do that. A little bit of update since my Friday update. I think I sent you the update Friday. We talked about how many people viewed it, how many people clicked on the posting. We have received 9 applicants so far. 7 people have contacted me either by phone or by email expressing interest in the position. My experience is most candidates apply with the last 2 weeks of the posting, so I think we're on schedule there. There's been quite a bit of interest based on the feedback I'm getting, just viewing the clicks and the views. If any of you have people that you think may be interested in the job, please send me their contact information. I'll be glad to contact them either by phone call or by email and send the posting information. My experience has been with past postings, a lot of times people in the community know people that are interested in the position. And so if you have those type of people that you think may be qualified for the position, please let me know and I'll follow up with them.
So Chet,
Any questions about that?
Yeah, so after the closing on the 12th, when can we anticipate the rating sheet and how would that come over to us? Via email?
You'll get it, you'll get them on the 13th most likely. What I'll do is I scan them in.
So
I'll
those,
get a rating sheet.
so those, will that be, I guess my concern is from a confidentiality piece.
Yep.
You're gonna ask us to rate these individuals, based on their applications, is that?
Yeah, it's a very informal process. My experience has been the vast majority of the time, the commissioners are pretty close on who they wish to bring in. And we can't go into closed session to talk about that. It's just a way to get the dialogue going and to save some time.
So
There's some candidates that obviously will not be qualified. Now, sometimes the boards, and it's up to you, sometimes the boards have asked me to completely disqualify the people that don't have any criteria and just send you the ones that have potential for the position. So that's a discussion we can have and how you wish to proceed with that process. Sometimes boards wish to see all applicants.
I think we should see them all, Chet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah, that's been the normal process. I guess back to your question about people remaining confidential. I have trust in all of you that you'll honor that and not share it with anybody prior to the closed session. And then when we come out of closed session, there'll be a motion made on who you wish to interview. Normally, I contact the candidates that will be considered for interview beforehand to make sure they grant approval to go public, and they would accept invitations for a public interview. So it just moves the process on pretty quickly. Decision you need to make is after you do that on the 18th, when you want to start the interview process.
So Chet, in order to keep that group of candidates confidential, would it be pertinent to send that document to civil counsel, and then then the commissioners can come to the county to review? Is that?
You can do it that way if you.
Okay, I think that way it's exempt from FOIA, Alex, is that attorney-client?
I believe so. I'd want to check on that, but I believe if it was sent to us and then reviewed in person with you, it would be subject to attorney-client privilege, and it's a personnel decision, so there's definitely coverage for a closed session for that.
Okay.
But I would want to double check on the exact process for that.
So yeah, we'll work that detail out, Chet, but let's do it that way. You'll send those documents will go to the civil counsel. Thank you. Any further questions for Chet?
And I'll work with the chairman to go through the process to make sure I'll feel comfortable with. And I'll be back on your meeting in 2 weeks. And like I said, I'll be in person there on February 18th. What I'll do is also give you a list of about 20 sample questions that you can review and determine how you wish to go forward with that.
All right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
All the same questions.
Thank you for hanging in on the meeting tonight.
Well, I've been in meetings for 40 years, so I've sat through a lot of meetings.
All right.
That's unique.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the update. Moving right along.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Public comment. So the last public comment is a 3-minute public comment. We don't need.
No closed session.
No, okay. Public comment. Public comment. Any further public comment?
Most of the public is highlighted.
Yeah. Any online? Craig, no? You good? Okay. Any more public comment? Closing the public comment period. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Adamini, with your Michigan jersey on tonight. Do you have anything?
Going to be back in the saddle tomorrow. So it's welcome.
Did you move over to Mill Creek yet?
Pardon?
Did you move already, or where are you at?
Oh, I've been in the
rehab. Valenti's rehab.
Yeah.
They're springing them to Cam, Michelle LaJoy. So we did have discussions. I will also share that I'm on the UpCap executive board, and there was a determination made that the Alger vote moved that funding to Alger County because the services were not being met appropriately, so I could make that statement. And it's been a general topic at UpCap since then, and it continues to be. So we can have that discussion more as we move forward. I believe they want to make a presentation to the board and have asked to be on the agenda. So the CAM group, CAM, and there wasn't ample time to just stick them on when they requested. So we'll certainly accommodate their request at our next board meeting. The one other thing I wanted to make note.
Well, before you move on from that, I think that I'm concerned that if something happens to Cam, that these are needy people that get Meals on Wheels. They're needy people. And so Alger, when Alger When UpCap pulled this away from CAM for Alger, that didn't mean people stopped getting their meals, right? It just
No.
went to a different provider.
The service went, so look, I
want to make sure people don't.
Yeah, I figured we would save that discussion for the next board meeting, but I could just touch on it. So, at no time did anybody want to see the seniors in our community be meal deficient. And there were some problems. The problems have been reviewed numerous times. There's a large document that I had requested a tracking of this. We're in possession of that. So it is a bit of a reality. There's continued discussion that has to happen there. And I have the same concern as you do, Vice Chair. I do not want to see people that have been relying on these meals. And I met with Northern Michigan University's president, Brock Tessman. We've talked about the discussion of if this doesn't get resolved, whether Northern would be interested in
Contracting for it, yeah.
providing that service with students and integrate that into their program, which I think would just be a great thing to do. But that's for Northern to determine. That's not for us. Again, we're not involved in this, but again, we don't control CAM, but we certainly control the funding that goes to these meals. And I personally am not going to have that problem become the county board's problem. So we'll address it as we see fit as we move forward. But that'll be at another board meeting. And one follow-up on the public safety line item. We have a meeting scheduled at the Ramada Inn, a brunch with community leaders, UP Health System, Bell Hospital directors, CEOs, resource emergency manager, all of the UP fire, all of public safety related items, along with Marquette City Manager Karen Colfax, Ishpeming City, Nagani City, all to take public input on what their thoughts are on what's near and dear on public safety to them, and then we'll compile those and bring it back to the board for their review and prioritize what top 4 items are important to Marquette County, and the board will make a decision on allocating funds and the priorities. So stay tuned on that.
How to spend our marijuana money, right?
Yes, non-tax dollars money. And before these even get off the ground, this new company that made a presentation tonight, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing for them to engage in, whether it's Meals on Wheels for seniors that get wheels? I mean, if you were going to do something for the community that's important, feeding elderly individuals that are, I think these things are really good target things to look at funding. So that's all I have, and that looks like it. We're not going into closed session, so I'm going to do this. Motion to adjourn.
Jerry Corkins meetings were a lot faster.